So today I want to talk about Manacled. It's one of the most, if not the most famous fanfiction that I've seen on TikTok, at least like dramione fanfiction. The hype is well deserved, but at the same time I feel like it was not for me. Let me tell you why. The story is basically an alternate universe where Voldemort wins the war and Harry is dead. Already kind of a rough start, but Draco is like one of the biggest Death Eaters and the closest to Voldemort. Yeah, I know. Bear with me. Oh, disclaimer. This is probably gonna have a few spoilers, so be warned. I'm gonna try to not tell you the big spoilers, but like a couple can probably slip out. So I'm just gonna warn you for that. Nothing major, but you know, here and there. Okay, after everything that happens, Hermione ends up enslaved and imprisoned. Now that Draco has been such a good Death Eater, she becomes his prisoner, and her duty is to obey every command that Draco tells her. Oh my god, okay. I feel like that's the basic premise of like what you need to know before you actually read. And another thing, it's really, really dark. Please check the tags and the trigger warnings because there are a lot. The list is long, okay? This is not for the faint of heart. I don't know what I was doing. This was my first dramione fanfiction. I don't know what I was doing. I feel like what made me read this was one like TikTok that I saw where it was like that trend that you get like the repetitive phrase on a book and just show it like all the time. I feel like I think I'm gonna get an example here. I hope I find an example. But what made me read this was the "You're Mine," and I was like, okay, so let's read. To be honest, I read the trigger warnings, but I was like, this is not gonna stop me. I'm too curious. I have to read. It gripped me. I couldn't stop reading. It was just like a week straight of me just reading it as like at any opportunity that I got, in family gatherings, at a friend's house, like anywhere. It was kind of rude of me, to be fair, but the writing is just like spectacular. I have no other words. SenLinYu did an amazing job writing this. It's so clever. The writing style is amazing. I can't compliment the author enough. It's really good. But as I've said in like a few videos before, dark romance is not very much for me, especially because this particular story didn't have quite the happy ending I was expecting. I mean, it is a happy ending, but like, is it? I mean, if you're asking, they both live. You know? I feel like one of the most heartbreaking parts about this is when Hermione finally understands like the extent of her sacrifices that she has to make daily, and also Draco, but not as many sacrifices as Hermione has to endure, but like they have to go through this. I don't know if this is a spoiler. I feel like it can. Yeah, it kind of is. She has to go through something like unimaginable. Handmaid's Tale type of vibe, if you know what I mean. I've seen people describe this as heartbreakingly beautiful, and I agree to some extent, but I can fully recognize that this type of story is not for me. I have heard though that SenLinYu is going to come out with a published book based on Manacled. I am so excited for this. Like, I can't wait to learn how she's gonna rewrite the story without using the Harry Potter characters. I'm really excited, and yes, I'm gonna read even though I don't want to read dark romances anymore. Since I met this story when it was in its fanfiction form, I feel like I have to. But yeah, I know that I said this is not for me, but I have some highlights that really impacted me. The first one is, I always have to choose and I never get to choose you. I'm tired of not getting to choose you. This I remember to this day because it was, I cried a little bit, which is weird because like everyone like sobbed while reading Manacled, and I didn't. Like, of course I felt sad for the major events and I felt icky for some parts, but I never really sobbed. I just like got some like tears in my eyes, but then it quickly recovered. The next one is from Draco. The first one was Hermione that said that, so You are not replaceable, he said. You are not required to make your death convenient. You are allowed to be important to people. The reason I took that vow was to keep you alive, to keep you safe. I mean, come on. Can you get like the theme and the aesthetic of the book yet? Like with just those two phrases? I think, yeah. Okay, next one is, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything I did to you, he said. His voice was hoarse and broken. I love you. You left, and I never told you. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Next one is from Hermione. Don't die. And then he replies, only because you asked. Final one is, this was Hermione. If Draco is a monster, then I'm his creator. Yeah, she said that. I remember giving this book 4.5 stars because of the dark themes and how I don't feel like I resonate with that type of aesthetic that much. So that's the only reason why. It fully deserves 5 stars if you're into this vibe for books. If you have no problems with the trigger warnings and the tags, then yeah, you should definitely read this. It's unmatched. It's really like one of the best things I've read, but it's not for me. As a word of caution, I did have to read something very happy after that, because like, although I didn't cry, it did obviously leave me very sad. If you want more recommendations on fanfics, Dramione, I'm Dramione only. Yeah, if you want more recommendations on Dramione fanfic, this video, go watch this right now, because it's one of the best fanfictions I've read, along with some other books, like published books. But yeah, if you want happier recommendations, definitely go check out that video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're gonna read Manacled, good luck. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on my next one. Bye!